Hi students, welcome back to Google Classroom of Sri Gokulam Public School, Guruvayur. How are you children? Hope all are doing well. The last section we discussed about history of trade and commerce. Hope everybody learned that portions. Today we will start with the development of intermediaries in ancient times. Who are called intermediaries? Intermediaries are individuals or organizations that undertake the role of mediators or linkage between two parties. The examples of intermediaries are brokers, bankers, commission agents, distributors, etc. They can provide useful business-related information to make a process shorter or less costly. In this sense, we can say intermediaries played a prominent role in the promotion of trade. They also provided financial security to the manufacturers by assuming the responsibility for the risk involved, especially in foreign trade. Then the emergence of credit transactions and availability of loans and advances enhanced commercial operations. It also led to the importance of indigenous banking system. They provided funds to manufacturers, traders and merchants for the expansion and development of their business fields. In the meantime, the Indian subcontinent enjoyed the favorable balance of trade, where exports exceeded imports with large margins. Later, commercial and industrial banks are also evolved to finance trade and commerce. Agriculture banks are also provided both short-term and long-term loans to finance agriculturists. All these shows the importance of intermediaries like banks for the development of trade and commerce in Indian economy. Now, let's discuss about the availability of transport system in the ancient times. Transport by land and water was popular in ancient times. Trade was maintained by both land and sea. India's geographical features are best suited for land routes as well as sea routes. The northern part of India mainly used by roadway route like Silk Road for the purpose of trade. In addition to Silk Road, trade routes developed between Africa, Europe and Asia through the Indian Ocean. Then next, we will discuss about merchant corporations. What are merchant corporations? Merchant corporations were autonomous corporations formed to protect the interest of the traders. So, let's point out the main features of merchant corporations. Merchant corporations are organized on formal basis. It framed their own rules of membership and professional code of conduct, which even kings were supposed to accept and respect. Trade and industry taxes were also a major source of revenue. So, these are the main features of merchant corporations. In the ancient times, different communities or merchant corporations dominated trade in different parts of the country. For example, in the northern region, Punjabi and Multani merchants handled business, while Bharts managed the trade in the states of Gujarat and Rajasthan. In western India, Mahajan handled the trade. In the south part of the India, Chhat handled the trade. Like that, we can see different communities or merchant corporations handled trade in India in the ancient times. Let's list out the major trade centers in ancient India. The leading trade centers are Padaliputra, Peshawar, Takshila, Indraprastha, Mathura, Varanasi, Midila, Ujjain, Surat, Kanchi, Madura, Broj, Kaveripata and Tamaralipti. In this topic, you need to learn only the names and don't have to go in detail. Then next we will discuss about the major export and import commodities in India. Before that, we have to know what is export. An export is the sale of goods or services to a foreign country. The major export commodities are spices, wheat, sugar, indigo, opium, cotton, live animals, copper, etc. Then, what is import? Import is the purchase of foreign manufactured goods or services in the buyer's domestic market. The major import commodities in India are Chinese silks, flax and linen, gold, silver, glass, rubies, etc. So, these are the various export and import commodities in India. Now, we will discuss about reindustrialization begins in India. After independence, the process of rebuilding the economy started in India. So, India went for centralized planning. As a result of centralized planning, the first 5-year plan was implemented in 1951. 5-year plan was given importance to establishment of modern industries, modern technological and scientific institutes, and space and nuclear programs. Unfortunately, Indian economy could not develop at a rapid pace. The major reasons were lack of capital formation, rise in population, huge expenditure on defense, and inadequate infrastructure. As a result, India relied heavily on borrowings from foreign sources and finally agreed to economic liberalization in 1991. The Indian economy is one of the fastest growing economies in the world today. It is because of India have been identified high growth sectors which are likely to grow at a rapid pace world over. The recent initiatives of the Government of India such as Skill India, Make in India, Digital India, etc. help the Indian economy to reach the high growth level. So children, these are the important concepts you have to study in section 1 of this chapter. Hope you have understood all the concepts clearly. Please note that the related URLs, notes of the lesson and the test paper are also attached along with the class. Make use of these available materials. Study well and attend the test paper without fail. That's all for today. Thank you.